one last big Saturday of spring games, and at least the headliner to me definitely is going to be the Oregon Ducks. Tom, what piques your interest when it comes to what we might be able to learn or gather from Oregon getting in Autzen Stadium on Saturday?
I want to see. I look at Dylan Gabriel as just a left-handed Bo Nix, so I don't really think you're going to see that much different as far as the scheme and what the offense is going to look like and what the production is going to look like from the quarterback position. What I want to see is what the skill positions look like because they've lost Troy Franklin. They're losing Bucky Irving. They're losing a few guys on the offensive line. I want to see how that looks. And I just think defensively, this was a team that last year, like, it just keeps getting better. Like when I was watching Bo Nix tape and just like Michael Penix tape and all these, like, the Oregon defense, like week by week, month by month, just got better and better and better and better. And it's getting so much closer where they're not at the talent level that Georgia is at, but they look like Georgia. So I just want to keep seeing that defense take the step forward because I really think they've got some excellent players on that side of the ball. And that's probably what's most interesting to me in this spring.
I asked a buddy who pretty clued in on Oregon, said, what's the odds that Dylan Gabriel was like the worst starter on this team? And he's like, dude, it's not zero. Like, they're pretty loaded. And that's not that's not saying Dylan Gabriel sucks. Like, I think we all think he's a very good college quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But if that's like actually the case, then you have to consider Oregon as like a legit national title contender. He thinks Lanning's got that thing going in the right way. So I'm very curious to see like how many dudes like flash as dudes.
Yeah, it's not like a huge spike, but like there's just a trend line since it's just slowly going up to that spot.
They did a good job in the portal.
I think they do a good job at a lot of things.
Yeah, I think their player tag has taken a major step up in her.
I've spent all spring, and I'm just gonna be a hype man. I mean, I like Texas and Oregon.
Yeah.
Well, what's gonna be more fun than rooting for Texas and Oregon to hit the ground running and shake up the house a little bit? Jabbar Muhammad from Washington, like that was a big pickup. Cam Alexander has gotten a lot of buzz. The pass defense is something that I know that Oregon fans have hoped would get fixed because while they do a lot of things very well, it was going up against Michael Penix that resulted in 3 of the 5 losses of the Dan Lanning era. And that was the other thing. Dan Lanning, 22-5 as Oregon's head coach. 4 of those 5 losses by 13 points combined. Dan Lanning is 22-5, and he is a handful of bounces away from being 26-1. I realize that's not how it actually works, but you understand what I'm saying. 3-point loss to Washington, 4-point loss to Oregon State, 3-point loss to Washington, 3-point loss to Washington. The margins between Oregon and competing for national championships are very, very small.
Yeah, that's the difference. It's like you can argue being in all those close games, like, the luck, the coin flip, play goes this way, play goes that way. But you also have to learn how to win those games. And Oregon does consistently struggle the last few years in winning those games. And that's the one thing you kind of hope that to me is the next thing that they have to do. They have to figure out a way to win those games because that's the difference between playoff contender and national title contender.
I'll add to your skill positions. The Tez Johnson was a really good opposite of Troy Franklin last year. They've got Gary Bryant Jr. and Evan Stewart like that. 3 really good players that you can put out there and really cause some problems for some defenses.
They also have this one dude on that team, Jurion Dickey, who was a physical freak as a recruit. So far, he hasn't done a thing. So I'm just going to be watching the spring game too. Like, does Dickey have a role in this offense? How are they using him? Because he is kind of like a bigger body, like Anquan Bolden, like twitch in terms of like short area, but not like necessarily great long speed, like leaper, contested catch type guy. So that'd be a different element for this offense if he can play to like the ceiling. I'm not saying he's Anquan Bolden. Please don't clip that in that way. But like stylistically, yeah.
Streets forget Anquan Bolden was a problem.
Real problem. All right, Nebraska. Tom, what do we think we're going to see from Matt Rule's Huskers?
I just want to see Raiola. That's really, I have to write for Friday, like about Nebraska and the next step that they have to take. And I'm trying to figure out a way to make the story more interesting and from a more different angle than they just need Raiola to be good. They just need a good quarterback because, like, but that's the case. Like, I think Nebraska last year defensively was solid. I think that they're not they're not a team that's going to be competing for a Big Ten title, but I do think that they are a team that should be getting to a bowl game at a minimum as far as the talent that they have. And I think Raiola is the one thing that can decide whether this is like a 6-6 and a 7-5 team or an 8-4, 9-3 kind of team. So I want to see Raiola. That's really all I care about in their spring game.
Offensive line as well, which at times last year was a bit of a problem. But it really is, Raiola. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, but I think their offensive line was a problem last year, but I also think Sims and Harburg were a problem for that offensive line because they were just moving around constantly. Like the offensive line never had any idea where the QB was.
Did you guys see Sims is in the portal and considering Arizona State? I love that.
Actually, that's a decent fit.
Dillingham, at some of the stuff at Memphis and then at Florida State and last year at Arizona State, has always done a pretty good job with some of the pseudo Wildcat stuff. And I thought Sam Levitt, the kid they took from Michigan State, was going to beat out Jaden Rashada. Mm-hmm. But having a nice changeup, because last year they used that running back kid to play a lot of Wildcat in meaningful games because they were just kind of out of
Bourget?
No. The channel kind of like short, stubby guy.
Scatterbo.
You want to talk about
Cam Scatterbo?
Oh, Scatterbo, the running back.
Yeah,
little bowling ball man.
Sims gives you at least the potential threat of passing in a sort of a heavy QB run package you could run if Sam Levitt needs a break. I'm kind of intrigued at it. If he can stop fumbling, which I mentioned this yesterday on Twitter, and all the Nebraska fans were like, yeah, the word if's doing a lot of work there, buddy. And yes, it is.
What was crazy was Sims loses the job and then Harburg fumbled more often than Sims did.
Yeah. In hindsight, the NIL deal with the tallow company was just, I know tallow's hot, but it's just not.
And finally, the Colorado Buffs are going to be in action.
They are. I haven't heard anything about them this offseason.
The main thing I want to see here is how does Lil Wayne's concert go after this event? Because at 4:00 in Boulder on Saturday, the projected temperature is 40 with a 100% chance of rain.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. Lil Wayne, little rain. So I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of rain, actually.
Yes. That, to me, is the most important thing for the Colorado spring game. But also, I just want to see, if they go 1s versus 2s, I want to see what the 2s look like.
Yeah,
because you could sit there and be like, we've got a plan with the portal, but even if you're bringing in better, like I said earlier in the show, I think Dallin Hayden's a very good get for them. I think he's a good player, but then your depth immediately takes more hits with Dylan Edwards leaving. I just think that you need depth in this sport to accomplish the goals that Dion is saying that they have and that they're trying to accomplish. And I am just not confident at all that Colorado has that kind of depth. So I want to see what the backups look like in this game.
Kellen says in the chat that the concert is indoors. So thankfully for Lil Wayne, that's a good sign. Actual football stuff I want to see. As Tom Fornelli pointed out today, I believe Shedeur was dead last in pressure to sack rate in the entire Power 5 last year, which the pressures are not on him. How many times those pressures convert into sacks? That is on Shedeur. So I'd like to see, is the ball getting out a little bit quicker? Some teams would be nice if your 5-star offensive tackle comes in and starts. They need 5-star offensive tackle Jordan Seaton to come in and be a good starting player for them immediately, especially because Savion Washington dipped out of there and is probably going to go start now at Syracuse. So true freshman Jordan Seaton, how does he look? My guess is he'll probably look mostly okay. And then I'm interested to see how do they incorporate some of the new receivers they brought in and how much they let Travis Hunter play offense.
It'd be great if Shedeur showed an ability to know where the ball was going before the snap more often. Not just what his read is, but just being able to look at the defense and say, okay, this is what they're doing, so this is where I'm going.
I mean, we've got new coaching staff across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to scheme up a spring game. That's a fool's errand. We're Or who knows? Maybe Deion Sanders is so innovative he actually runs a full fall game script in a spring game. Like for example, Oregon we know is going to be capital B bland.
Yeah.
They're
going to be playing cover 3.
Like they are going to get out there and they are just going to see who can execute when both teams know exactly what's going to happen. Get out there, hit a little. But it is going to be brand new coaching staff on both sides of the ball for Colorado. I've got zero expectations. I hope to learn a lot. We'll see. It's kind of where I'm at.